Hey, welcome everyone. My name is Rick Kramer. I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is open office hours, or like I like to refer to as open mic night here at Bluebeam. So I'm willing to take any suggestions from the audience. This open office hours, basically, I like to kick it off by showing you all something that you might not have seen before. And like, oh, wow, I didn't know Bluebeam could do that, or it's a tips and tricks. What I want to share with you is actually a case that came across my desk yesterday, and it was the weirdest thing. The display of some information on this graph that was from a civil engineer wasn't showing up properly in Bluebeam, but it was showing up perfectly in Adobe. I'm like, ooh, Adobe. I'm like, why is it not working? So let me go ahead and show you just to kick things off what I did to change it. So I highly recommend that you all do that now on yours. And so Misty will go ahead and let everyone else in that's coming in from the
Sure thing.
audience. Don't worry about my calendar over here. And so this is a real case. So I got a case, and this is supposed to show right here in this area a bar, right? I'm going to open up the same document in Adobe, right? And I'm going to show you what it's supposed to look like. And I thought, oh my goodness, Bluebeam is broken. I have the latest updates. I have the latest video card driver. Let me show you what it's supposed to look like. I'm going to go in over here on my computer and open up that same file, which is this one right here. And if you're a customer, if you're the one that sent me this right now and you're on live, thank you so much for sharing the information, even though you didn't know you were going to. I'm going to go ahead and open up with Adobe, right? Everyone has Adobe on their computer, and I'm going to open it up in Adobe. Now let's take a look. This is wild. And I brought it up to Bluebeam, and they're like, I don't know, it's something that you need to change. Do you see this right here? Page 2, right? I'm on page 2 on this free Adobe Acrobat Reader. This area, I can't even do a rectangle. The shortcuts aren't the same. This area right here, you see the bars that are there? I'm going to go ahead and split screen. Oh, we got more people. Here's Adobe. Here's all of those bars. And over here's Bluebeam. What? Right? And I'm trying to get these on to show side by side. Anyway, you got the idea that this right here, let's see, come on. All right, I'm just going to maximize it, but you guys see this, right? This area is supposed to have bars, and that was a big deal. This provides some information to the geotech that was being lost in Bluebeam. So here's my recommendation. How to fix this is there is what I call a feature, a bug that isn't displaying this information correctly. And it's all according to your graphic display driver, not the really good one that's in your computer, but something that Bluebeam application isn't talking to your driver. So I'm using, by the way, new Bluebeam Review 21, and this was still an issue in Review 20 and 21. So if I go over here to Review, Preferences, no, About, you'll see that I'm working on the latest version of Review. So the issue still happened in Review 20. So Rick, how do we figure it out? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to go over here to Preferences, and we're going to get into Preferences just a little bit, but I'm going to jump right into Advanced, okay? Under Advanced tab, the 2D rendering engine that Bluebeam uses is a hardware acceleration. It means it's using the hardware of the video card that's on my laptop. Instead of using hardware, use legacy. Now watch what happens. I'm going to change it to legacy. I'm going to click OK. Did you just see what happened right there? I now have the bar. So here's the takeaway. There might be things on your PDF you don't even know that's not showing up. So again, put on the legacy 2D driver, right? Again, it's over here under Preferences, Advanced, change the rendering engine. out of the box from hardware to legacy. Life is going to be better. Stay tuned for any updates. I'll let you know at the next open office hours if this changes, if Bluebeam has created some type of update. My guess, hopefully they will, and how to get those updates is easy. What you want to do is every now and then go over here to the help menu and check for updates. I'm going to go ahead and check for updates, and it says review is up to date. I can tell you Bluebeam is probably working on this because that is a big deal. So what do you all think? Drop the mic. Thank you so much. Good night. Let's see, any chat, anything in the chat area over here, Misty, because I am not looking at it. Do we have anyone that's going, ooh, wow, yet?
Not yet, but I was saying, ooh, wow, in my head I was.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. High five, boom. By the way, that's how we do high fives virtually now, for those of you stuck behind the computer. Boom. There you go, awesome. So, all right, so that's one thing. All right. The other thing, let me show you all some preferences, some things that I like to change, and then we're going to get into kind of a simple little thing of how to customize counting symbols. It's just something that I was thinking of. I'm like, yeah, maybe someone wants to learn how to do that. I'm going to go over here to preferences, and let's talk about some of the preferences that I like to set up on my Bluebeam review, which I think you should do too, and why it's so important. Starting over here with general. I just reset Bluebeam minutes ago, right before we got online, and this is out of the box. It uses the username over here that my computer is called, R. Kremer, right? And if your computer is called 1234, your username is going to say 1234. Well, why should we care? It's because in the markups list down below, that is going to be what is captured for your author. So the author's name is going to be whatever is the username. So my recommendation is change this to your name. Better yet, put in the name of the company you work for. That way, when you make your markups, guess what? All your coworkers and people that you send this to that are outside of your bubble will say, oh, this came from ASTI or GEI or TLC or ABC, whatever it is, you know me. So add the username and change that information. Okay, another thing that I want to show you is over here under window. Now, under window, I'm going to go back and I'm going to open up a sample drawing that you all can open up on your end, and I'm going to see something about this text highlighting and why I turn it off. All right, for now, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to close this file and I'm going to open up a sample drawing. All right, I'm going to go over here. By the way, I don't know if you knew this, under the help menu are tutorials that are built in, 3 different tutorials. There's Bluebeam University, which is complimentary to all users of Review 21. As part of your subscription, you get unlimited access to Bluebeam University. For everyone else, we have Bluebeam Launch tutorials that are built in, and training resources. Tutorials that are built in give us these 6 different things that we can investigate. For fun, I'm going to open up Quantity Takeoff over here, and we're going to open up a sample file. By the way, you could watch the video over here on your own, grab some popcorn, and learn something, and follow along with the sample takeoff file. By the way, this video right here is this file, and you can follow along. How cool is that? You can kind of learn on your own. All right, so point being is, if I wanted to go through and highlight text, right? I'm going to go over here and I'm going to turn on my profile, review advanced, just so I can have all my handy dandy tools up front. And I'm going to turn on the highlighter. Remember, this is out of the box. Now, here's what happens if the highlighter is set as a default. If you're wanting to go through and highlight just a specific name, watch this. Click highlight, and I'm sure you guys have done this before. When your cursor is not on text, it becomes a highlighter, and you can highlight all you want, right? If it hovers over text, it changes to highlight that text, but watch what happens. When I want to click on Office, it accidentally will click on multiple things. Sometimes it will click on, see, it did the break room right here. I didn't want the break room. I just wanted this. So how do we go through and change that? So there's a setting Over here under Review Preferences, that tells Review not to do highlighting. And what I'm going to do over here is turn it off. This is under Preferences, Window, Tablet, of course. Where else would it be? It's in the craziest place. Windows Tablet, I'm going to disable text highlighting and hit OK. Now, using H, which is the highlighter, I'm going to put my highlighter on, and guess what? Now, if I hover over the text, it doesn't become highlightable anymore. Now, if I want to highlight the text, all I have to do is hold Shift, and I can do a straight line. I can hold Shift and do a straight line, and there it is. Now, the downside of this is now you have the highlighter all the time, and you can highlight whatever you want. If you're highlighting text, to get a straight line, hold Shift and go straight across, okay? One way that highlighting is used out of the box, I'm going to turn it back the way it was, especially if you're doing specifications. I'm going to go over here and turn it back on, and you'll see why this is really a neat feature. I'm going to enable text highlighting and hit OK. I should open up a specification for this example, but now if I use highlighter and highlight objects carefully, that information not only is highlighted, but shows up here in the comments. So here's what happened. I have an estimator that shows me his workflow. He has a set of specifications and a set of construction documents. He highlights the text in the specification. And when highlighting the specification, he uses out-of-the-box highlighter, and it comes in with this information for comments. The reason why this is important, because the estimator, in this case, is looking for something very specific within the spec, right? And so they're looking for anything that says, let's say, ASTM 500. I made up that number. I don't even know if it exists. ASTM 500. When they highlight it, quickly going through the specification, either manually or using, I like the music, or clicking on search, by the way. Search is an excellent way of searching text as well. It'll automatically highlight it, which means you can search for it. Did you ever see this feature and ever wonder, like, what the heck is search? Inside here, I can search for everything that says office. And guess what? Anything that says office is now going to just show up in the markups list. I can click on it and I can find out where that is. But wait a minute. If I'm over here on a different sheet, I click on this, it should take me right to that sheet where it says offices. So that's one of the pros of using the highlighter as is. Any questions?
I did get one question. Let me see if I can go to it real quick. It didn't come through on the chat, but I got it. The question was, for the zoom scale window alongside page count at the bottom center of the Bluebeam screen, it disappeared from my Bluebeam app. How can I restore it?
Okay. So the zoom information, if I'm understanding correctly. So right now, I don't have what's called the status bar turned on. The status bar to turn that on is function 8, F8. So on my keyboard, I'm going to hit F8, and there it is. And so now I have the status bar. I think if that's what you're talking about, that's how we can set the scale and find out all the information. More importantly, is all of these buttons over here, which snap to content and snap to markup, which I usually leave off, but I always leave snap to content, so it snaps to these objects.
Actually, that's not what I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Once upon a time, there where it says floor plan 1 of 8, to the
Yes.
left or to the right was a small window, and as I zoomed in and out, it showed me what percentage I was zoomed to. So if I wanted to see what this looked like at 100%, I could set it to 100, and I have a 100% view. But it vanished a few months ago, and I can't for the life of me find it.
You know, I'm gonna get back to you on that one. I don't know the answer to that one. That is a great great question. Maybe under view panels, That's a new one. I love getting those kind of questions. I don't know the answer to that one. Let's see if there's a zoom percent. Nope. Not just zoom. Zoom tool. Yeah, that's the zoom tool, but it doesn't give me the percent. I understand what you're saying now. I'll be happy to look into it. I don't know. If you want, put your put your email in the chat area, and I'll be happy to look into that. By the way, if you have questions similar to that, and maybe you're shy, you don't want to ask them, or you just want to send us questions at any point in time, you can send us a question over at bluebeam@asti.com. That's Bluebeam, which you know how to spell, that Bluebeam@asti, A-S-T-I, Bluebeam@asti.com, and say, hey, Rick, I have a question I didn't get a chance to ask. Please send me an email on that Zoom question. I'll be happy to get back to you on that. That's a
Hey,
really good one.
Rick, really quickly too, Al says there is an option in settings to toggle that. And I think you right click on the options and go to the settings, or it's in the file settings.
So under, okay. But maybe walls document. Is that where you're talking about? Was it Al?
Al, mm-hmm.
See, I love this. This is where we all get together and help each other. I'm serious. This is great. I don't see it, Al. Maybe feel free to unmute. I'll be happy to share.
Yeah, to be honest, I had someone help me with this because we had the same exact thing happen with us. So I don't remember the exact location of it. I want to say it was a setting in the document set in the preferences.
Let's see if we can find it. That'd be very cool. I don't see it here.
I'll scroll through mine, and if I see it, I'll pop in again.
Okay. Yeah, that's an excellent thing. So other things that I want to show you all. My friend Patrick McLaughlin over at Newcomb and Boyd / Pond and Associates. One of the things that he showed me was a dashboard. I'm not going to get into dashboards today because I think that's going to be a webinar topic that I'm going to do. And what he did is under General Open PDF on Startup, browsed and created a dashboard right here. So every time he starts Bluebeam Review, it opens up his dashboard. And if you don't know what dashboards are, dashboards gives you the ability to have a landing page with boxes or images that can hyperlink to different things, which is a great way of navigating around a project or navigating to parts of files that are on your server. But it all started with Open PDF on Startup, and it opened up a dashboard. So I'm going to be showing that, I think, on my next webinar. Maybe not the next one, but definitely one of the upcoming ones. Something else that I like to do is under Tools, Measure. For those of you who are using Dynamic Fill, I use it a lot. And one of the things that I found that is if you slow down the fill speed and boundary, you'll have better results. What I mean by that, dynamic fill gives you the ability to temporarily fill in a location with this green goop, and that paint spills to an edge. And I found that if the fill speed is too fast, it's like pouring a 10-gallon or 15-gallon thing of paint, and there's a little curb, the paint will skip over. If you reduce this down to 20, reduce this down to 20, that's, I guess, the lowest you can go is 25%. It makes doing dynamic fill a little easier, and that fill speed just doesn't bump so fast. So when I come over here and I do a dynamic fill, I'm going to type in J to do a dynamic fill. when I do dynamic fill over here on this, it'll do it nice and slow. Boom. And over here, if I want to fill this area in, I'm going to define it first by putting a threshold. And that threshold was determined earlier on, the size, by doing boundary. So the boundary is as small as it gets, which is nice because then over here, it's the size of your typical 4-inch or 6-inch wall. If not, it's really, really thick and that will cover into the room. And this boundary, by the way, you don't have to be clean about it. You don't have to go from point to point, overlap it, and then go back over here and do the rest of the fill. And boop, over here, oops, I went over. Even if I went over like this and it spills over, I can use the boundary again. I'll come over here and click and hit enter, and it just cut that out. Okay, it should have removed this as well. I'll click over here to create a fill of phase 1, hit apply and close. There it is. So now I can just get rid of this guy right here. Delete. See ya. Okay. Ha, got lots of hearts. Yay. So
we did have a question come in from Gregory that says, can you highlight a wall again? And then we've got a couple more. So I don't know if you want to answer that, and I can.
Yeah, let's answer them right
other.
now. Let's see
Okay.
what Greg has. Greg, can you highlight a wall again? How do you remove the fill? Let's do that. So in this case, again, doing dynamic fill gives us the ability to go through and create square footages very easily, especially when you have odd shapes, right? Like this floor plan over here, or maybe it's circular, right? And I'm trying to figure out the square footage of this. You use dynamic fill. The shortcut for that is the letter J for dynamic fill. I don't know where they got J from dynamic fill. I don't even think it's part of the any of the letters of dynamic fill. So what I did first is I went into preferences over here and I changed the settings within Bluebeam so that it slows down, unlike the caffeinated self that I've been drinking coffee. I go to tools, I go to measure and reduce the fill size. The fill size is the boundary. The fill speed is how fast we're pouring into it. And actually, I'm sorry, boundary size is that 25%. That's the thickness of the wall. I'm going to leave that as is. And now over here, let's say I wanted to do a dynamic fill. I'm going to type in the letter J. That's the shortcut for dynamic fill. Come on, J. Sometimes you have to hit escape. I've noticed that sometimes my computer thinks it's in the middle of a command, so hitting escape kind of clears everything. Then I'll do dynamic fill. This box right here will be up at the very top, sometimes hard to see. I'm going to use fill and left click and start to highlight this area. Now, all I'm doing is holding it, right? If I go in here, think of it like this is a line, right? So the paint is going to hit that. If I left click and hold in this area, it continues on, right? So what I'm going to do is if I have areas that I need to redefine a boundary, I'm going to click this icon to create a boundary and basically come over here and go from here, and I'm going to go from here and here and here and here and here. Let's just say, boom. And so now I've cut that out. That boundary, I have to go back and fill in this area. So I'm going to do fill and fill it in. Now, this green is a temporary thing. That green, by the way, you can set up to be any color you like. And then you can create from that temporary fill anything you want, whether it's a space, a polygon, or an area. For me, I always do areas. I'm going to do that. This is going to be floor ceiling measurement. You can also do a combination. So you can do floor ceiling and a perimeter, or you can do that and a space. So I'm going to do both a space and this. So I get 2 for 1. I'll click apply, close, and now I have an area and a space. I mean, square footage. So there's my square footage right there. Square inches. By the way, you want to see that in square feet, right? Select that object, over here to units, change it from square inches to square feet, SF. There it is, 211 square feet. Who does inches anymore? That's so old fashioned. Actually, no one does inches. So you can change your units very easily. Oh, wait a minute. Al came up. Right click on customize toolbars. Uh-oh. Click on the navigation. Select add scale. All right, here we go. All right, let's see. Al, you get 5 points, by the way, for that. Let's see. Right click, customize toolbars. There's customize toolbars. Click on the navigation.
So if you see the part that says down the toolbar, specifically which toolbar, if you scroll down there, there's a navigation bar right there, navigation bar middle.
Right here?
Up a little bit.
Oh,
Right there, if you
navigation.
click on it. Then down below, it shows everything that's part of that navigation bar. And I don't see scale there. So if you go to the top left corner and see where it says navigation, if you click on that drop down and click view, and right there where your mouse was, right below rotate counterclockwise, there's one that says scale. Click on that and port it over. There's that arrow. And if you hit OK, it should pop up right there. That's your scale.
Wow. Al, you get a year's supply of happiness. Misty, can we send that out to him? We'll need your mailing address.
Yes, I got you right after this webinar.
Look at that. All right, everyone say thank you, Al. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Al. That was great. Al for the win. Man. Very nice. Way to go. That's very cool. Very, very cool. Al, back to you at the studio. Let's see what else we got. So let me, yeah, nice job, Al. Very good. So one of the things I wanted to show you all, and again, you know, thank you all for coming and joining in on the session. It's as interactive, and this is what it's all about, learning from each other. Can you delete the dynamic fill? Yeah, absolutely. So we can click on it. We can move it. And over here's the room that was underneath it, and I can delete it just simply by right-clicking and deleting. So the dynamic fill gives us the ability to create an area without ever having to kind of go pick. So one of the things that I wanted to go through is I want to show you how easy it is to customize to start to count objects. So over here on using the same file, this particular file has a reflected ceiling plan. You know what? I'm going to do another one. This one over here that has PNID. All right. So for example, here's something that says TV, right? I want to count those, or maybe the data, right? I'm just going to move this over here. I want to count data. So can you, what was the question? Was there a question?
I'm sorry, there were a couple of them, but I was going to wait until you were done.
No, tell me. What's the question?
All right, so let's see where we left off at. Gregory said, what is the command? And then there's two more after that.
Okay, so the command, you write it down, J. It's J for dynamic fill. Why J? I don't know.
Okay, the green was there when I did it on my screen, and then I tried to click on it and hit delete, and it didn't delete.
Okay, so the green is temporary. So if I go over here, I'm going to go to a whole new space, right? I'm going to click the letter J to start, and I'm going to come over here and fill this in. This green glue or green gob is temporary.
Okay.
So you can't delete it. It's just kind of in flux until you apply or close it. When you close it, it disappears.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a temporary kind of thing.
The
So,
next
oh yeah, go ahead. My bad.
next question, where do you change the full screen crosshair color?
Al,
Well, that
full screen crosshair color. All right. Well, first of all, I'm going to look under preferences because I've seen that listed here. Honestly, I've never used it. Let's see, where is that full screen crosshairs? Crosshairs, where are you, crosshairs? I bet you I have a question. I'm going to ask a question back. The person that asked the question, are you an AutoCAD user? Because AutoCAD users, I was an AutoCAD user and I used crosshairs that were all the way across.
he says,
Yes.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. So that's where that came from. So somewhere here, I've seen crosshairs. Yeah. Da, da, da. Background color. How about a background color? You want to change the background color? Sets, sorting. I saw it somewhere here. I'll give it a couple more seconds, and if not, I'm going to move on. And you guys can send me your questions. So feel free to send me that question. I'll try to look it up to see if where that is, first of all, because honestly, it's something that I rarely use. One last. Yeah, I'm going to move on. I don't know where that is. Anyone, Bueller?
I'll also put the email for them to send additional or follow-up questions in the chat. And I do have another question.
Okay, go for it. Oh, wait a minute, real quick.
Yes,
Let me show
general
this
tab.
to you. Huh?
General
It's a-
tab
General tab.
under preferences. Show full screen crosshairs, but there's nothing with color.
Oh. Oh, yeah. No, there's no way to. Yeah, there's no way to change its color. What you can do, if there's something like, it makes sense that this should be a different color. Over here under help, make a suggestion. This goes directly to Bluebeam, not to me, Bluebeam corporate. And all you have to do is write a small sentence, crosshairs, be able to change color, boom, done. And those are the kind of things that they listen to. That's excellent.
Okay,
Sure.
and then we've got a question from Thomas. I'm in the door and hardware distribution business. I think I did that right. Let me know,
Yeah.
Thomas, if I said that right. Looking to utilize Studio for submittals. I am new to Bluebeam and looking for examples of door and hardware submittals. Can you help me?
So what I'm going to do is that's going to be a little bit more of an involved thing. I'd be happy to meet with you one-on-one and try to answer your questions. Again, hit me up at bluebeam@asti.com. I'll be happy to work with you. You can share what you have as resources that you have, and I can show you kind of how we can meld those two together. But I think that you'll find that Bluebeam has an excellent way of taking information out of Bluebeam into Excel or into Word. Yeah, Lupe Hernandez, there must be a way. I've seen it. I'll look deeper into it. Yes, please do. And if you have that answer of, changing the full crosshair to a different color, yeah, sharing is caring. And then I will send you a year's supply of happiness as well. So make sure to send that information if you figure it out. Any other questions? What else do we got?
We are caught up as of right now.
All right. So, all right. One of the common things I get asked all the time is, Rick, how do you keep your hair so nice? And I'm going to say Gillette. No, all seriousness though. Question is, I get a lot, I'm creating counting, right? I'm counting widgets, I'm counting symbols, but I want to do a custom icon. How do I do that? I'm going to show you kind of two different things. One is straight out of the box, changing some of the colors, and then how to create your own icon. First, let's do out of the box stuff. So over here, if I wanted to count data outlets, right, I can go over here to the search. And by the way, you can search for text or do a visual search. Text is going to be if you have text that you can scan. For example, if I wanted to look for everything that said plus 60 inch, it'll find it like that versus having to look for TV. I can do a visual search, and that's for finding something that's graphic. In that case, this. What I'm going to do is click Get Rectangle, and I'm going to zoom in over here and click this. It's going to show me exactly what it's looking for, and then I have the option of searching the entire file. In this case, it could be 5 or 500 sheets. I could do the current drawing, the current page, or I can even point to other drawings that are open or even in other directories. In this case, to make it easy, I'm going to just scan this first page, and I want to count how many outlets I have, but then I also want to give it a unique look to it, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I always leave sensitivity towards the all the way on the left-hand side, which makes it less sensitive. So it finds more variety of things. And I'm going to click search. This is going to go through, and down below over here, you can see that it's scanning, and it found 61 of these objects, right? So we visually kind of go through and see, okay, it looks like it found them all, even the ones that are hidden behind some other markups. So in this case, I want to go twofold. One, I'm going to show you how to create a markup using a counting symbol and how to customize that counting symbol. And then I'm going to rewind, and we're going to do a custom symbol from scratch for counting. So over here, if I just wanted to use something out of the box, I'm going to select all, click the down arrow and say apply count, right? So at the top row, these first 5, I can count 5 things or symbols that are built in to Bluebeam. If we went through and picked the square, right? So put a square everywhere that there's a data outlet. Well, first of all, it obscures the information underneath. Well, also I have a square here, but that's neither here nor there. In this case, I want to be able to see through it. So one of the things that I can do, I'll go ahead and clear this out. By the way, it created a count measurement right here. Immediately, I'm going to double click, and I'm going to call this data 1, right? So I know that these are data 1, and I have 61 of them. Over here, I'm going to right click on it and go to its properties. Right now, I can't see what's underneath it. So in the properties dialog box, which is hidden over here, right? Here's the shape. I'm going to change it to a circle instead because I already have something else here. And what I'm going to do is change its color, something different like yellow, and then change its opacity. Maybe I'll do blue because yellow is kind of hard to see, right? And I'm going to change its opacity. You see it coming through? Now I can see it. Depending on the scale, maybe this is too big. I can change the scale and make it smaller. Boom. Now, at this point, select it, right click, add it to your tool chest. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my tools. And now here under my tools is data 1. By the way, I don't know if you knew this, but in the my tools, which I consider to be your junk drawer, do you ever notice these numbers and wonder what they are? I can drag this all the way up to the top. And the shortcut for adding this is just by hitting number 2. So if I wanted to manually do this, all I have to do is hit the number 2. And there it is. And I can add them. Any of these things right here, you can do a shortcut 1 through 9. Now, here's the thing. It'll actually keep numbering them. But I don't know about you, but I only have 1 through 9 and then 0. And 0 I can't use. But if I wanted to use the pen at any time, all I have to do is hit number 4. And now I have a pen. I hit number 8, and now it's an ellipse. Cool. All right, let me Control Z. Pretty neat, right? So I took something that was out of the box and gave it a new subject, right-clicked, and added it to my tools, right? So now I can use this as a counting thing. But let's say we wanted to customize this. You're like, Rick, I don't want triangles. I don't want squares. I want to create my own unique looking thing. How do we do that? I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these, right? So now we're starting from scratch. I'm going to create a brand new symbol here for things that I want to count. I'm sure the folks on the call right now, you're counting stuff at some point, and you want to create your own unique symbol. Over here, we have lines, arcs, and circles, and closed rectangles and ellipses. Those are the two things that I'm going to go through. Landon, will you send the recording of the web meeting? Absolutely. It's going to actually be free. It's going to be on our web page. So you'll be able to have access to it. We won't send it to you, but you'll be able to access it 24/7.
Actually,
Misty?
to give you an update there, yeah, we have a new workflow of sending everyone the recording. It'll reach your inbox within 48 hours, but do check your spam folder because Outlook has some new privacy settings and they've been kind of sending everything almost to a spam folder, but we got you.
What? Nobody tells me anything.
Yes. Oh, I
See?
know. So now you
Nobody.
know, though.
Now I know. You know, Landon, I am so glad that you asked that question because now I learned something. So guess what? We're sending it to you. You. Everyone gets the recording. All right. So back to how do we create custom content, custom markups? Misty for the win. Yes. All right. So let's get over here. I'm going to create a unique thing. I'm going to go over here and create a circle. Now, when you do the ellipse, right? If you do an ellipse, it's going to do an ellipse, but I want a perfect circle. I'm going to hold shift and it is going to create a circle. So over here, I'm going to create a circle and I'm going to customize the way this thing looks. First of all, I'm going to change its fill color to this purple and I'm going to make it be highlightable, but I don't want this purple. I want a different purple. I want a lighter purple. So I'm going to come over here and click on the drop down. This shows me every color available to me. I'm going to reduce its saturation. See that? Now it looks kind of like more gray. Pick a different color. There it is. And I'm going to reduce its saturation. Perfect. Yeah, and I want this thing to have that appearance over here. Maybe, yeah, and that's it. Maybe I also want to have something with a line across it, right? So I'm going to come over here and do a line here and do another line here. And I'm going to put in a text box. I'm going to put in just a typewriter and come over here and call it a B. Okay, and I'm going to make this really small. Small b. I know somewhere in there is a funny joke and I just don't know what it would be. Get it? I don't know what it would be. Ba-dum-bumps. All right, so tough crowd, Misty, right? And I came up with a B joke. All right, so over
I thought
here.
it was hilarious. I
Thank
think
you.
because people are mute. They're laughing though.
They're
You might
laughing.
not
All
hear
right,
them,
good.
but
Because
they're
if not,
laughing.
I'm leaving. If this isn't funny, that's it. I'm out of here.
Ted
So
says it's a dad joke, but he loves them. So
it is a good dad joke. I have actually a book of dad jokes. So anyway, so let's say we wanted to have this be a unique thing, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to window around the whole thing and I'm going to group it together. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to find group. So now it's all one object. Sorry, let me get this. Hello? No, sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm in the middle of a webinar. Just kidding. Anyway, so you group it together. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it something, and I'm going to call this data B, right? Because that's what it is. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to add this to my tools. Or if you have a tool set, add it to your tool set, right? So over here's data B. I want to create this as a counting object. Right now, it's just an individual object. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to right click on data B and have it do create count. Now, here's the thing that I wish Bluebeam would change. The information in the subject line got lost. Well. And now it says count measurement. Click on this before doing anything, go to its properties and change it to data B, right? Okay, now with this object, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. This data B is now a counting object. And now I'm going to go through and count objects again. Click search. First of all, let me save what I'm working on. Save. And yeah, I'll save it right there. And what I'm going to do is do a search for these guys again. Boom, 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 boom. Over here, it's going to find all 100 of them or however many there were. I don't know. I lost count. 61. And this time I'm going to click inside here to select them all and then click apply count. And there it is, data B, because I didn't get the other line item thing there. Click data B. And there it is. Guess what? It's everywhere. There's data B, data B, data B, data B, data B, data B. So in all seriousness, this is how easy it is to start to go through and customize any of the icons for counting or something that you want to create as a symbol. Anytime that we start to go through and create any type of customization, I highly recommend look at the drawing that you're going to be creating it in. Make sure, here's my takeaway, make sure it's set to scale. Find out what is the most commonly used scale drawing, 1/8 inch, quarter, whatever it is, and make your icon fit that size. When creating that icon for that scale, what you can do, in addition to having it be the correct scale for this 1/8 inch drawing, is you'll notice on some of these over here, if I go over to a new one, I'm going to go through and maybe architect review, whatever it is, there's set scale. A lot of people don't know what this is, and I don't either. I'm kidding. Set scale gives us the ability, if we have an icon, this drawing is at 1/8 of an inch, and then I have another blow up detail that's 3/4 of an inch, right? Two different scales. If I have set scale on this set of tools, which I don't, then the tool it was created in at 1/8 of an inch, it knows to scale it up or scale it down. You have to create first the correct scale of the drawing, right? Create a tool set that is set to scale. Have it be symbols that are for scale. Then when you create a object that is the correct height and size for 1/8 inch, you bring that same object into a drawing that's 3 inches equals a foot. It will adjust that icon so it grows in size. So it looks the same from drawing to drawing, even though it's a different scale drawing. So that's it. Oh, so Lupe, I don't think Applied Software has gotten into the TikTok game yet. You know, it's kind of funny. I've been thinking about posting on TikTok, but I haven't yet. So I do need to do a TikTok, right? Do you guys watch TikTok? Does anyone? I don't know.
I watch TikTok. I get stuck into the scrolling for like an hour before bed. So I think everyone wants to see Rick Kramer on TikTok for sure. You got to do it.
I think so. I think so. Yeah. So you know, putting information in here that is accurate is really important, and also again, customizing, right? So anything that you want here that you can draw or you can bring in, you can start to customize it. By the way, a lot of people go, you know, there's an icon that I want to use that's on the web. If I go over here and let's just say, I don't know, office icons, right? Over here, I'm going to go to images. So a lot of people think you're stuck with just the things that you draw. If I come over here and I click on something, let's say over here, I wanted to find an object, right? Whatever it may be. I'm going to do coffee, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to use the snipping tool. So I'm going to come over here and do snipping tool, which is built into Windows. Click new, and I'm going to window around this guy right here. I'm going to save this as an object. It's a JPEG, and I'm going to put it over here as a coffee break. Okay, let's go ahead and minimize that. Maybe I should have used the cactus plant. I don't know. And I want to create that as a symbol that I want to use over and over again. So I can go over here and insert an image. And I'm going to go over here to where those images are. Bring it in. Right? Now, this object, I can say is supposed to be here and here and wherever it is, right? I want to create that as a new Keurig coffee maker. Select it, right click, add to that tool chest, and there it is. There's my coffee maker, and make that a count object. So where does this come in handy, right? You're not going to put in coffee makers, but think of it. Anything that you can take a picture of on the web, you can start to go through, and the sky's the limit. So if you have a picture of, I don't know, whatever it is that you're trying to capture, you can put that image there instead of just a round circle, right? So you can start to have more information. I've seen people do this for fire. Here's a good example. One of my last jobs, a previous job, a long time ago, is I had to create a fire evacuation plan. Have you ever looked on next to an elevator, right? It's supposed to have a little evacuation plan and has little dots where you are. Sometimes there's symbols for where the fire stations are, the poles, right? Or the alarms or the strobes, whatever it is. Guess what? I can take a fire hydrant, was it fire hydrant? Fire extinguisher, get a picture of it online and bring that into a PDF and then post it exactly where I have the fire extinguishers. Same thing with CCTV, anything that you want to show as a diagram for planning. It makes it really, really nice, and people are going to be impressed. They're going to be like, wow, Rick, how did you do that? And tell them it took you hours and hours and you need the rest of the day off when it really only took you minutes. Stay away from TikTok, Nelson says. What other things do we got, guys and ladies? Kimberly, Jeremy, Mike, Al, Nelson. Anyone? Bueller? What kind of issues have you come across recently and wondered, hey, could Bluebeam do this? We got a couple more minutes. All right. If not, I'm going to have to roll out the dad jokes, Misty.
Well, you've got plenty of those for sure. I think we'd go over time at that point, but I did want to share a slide with everyone. Oh, Jim, do you have a question? I saw your hand go up. Can you create, well, we got a couple of questions coming in. They're like, wait a minute, we don't want the dad jokes.
Why not?
Oh gosh. Landon says, can you create different tool sets? And
Yes.
Jim also raised his hand, so.
So I'm going to go first with Landon. Yes, you can create different tool sets. So the way to make different tool sets. So first of all, the tool chest is, think of it as a drawer, not a drawer, a whole tool box, right? And you have drawers. You have a drawer for screwdrivers, another one for wrenches, another one for nails, right? You can start to create different tool sets and then share them within your network or email them to folks. Over here, when we go to manage tool sets, you can add a new tool set, or if someone in your office has created them, you can import and have that point to a shared directory like a network drive, a Dropbox, a shared drive, Dropbox, box, B-O-X-X, right? Or anything, or add it one way. So when I click add, I'm going to give it a new name, and this is Landon's tools. And I'm going to do Landon's tools, and I hit OK. Now, where this is saved, now this is where the magic happens. Save this somewhere on the network, not on your computer. That way other people can get to it. And then they can just import it in. I'm going to put it over here under office hours, hit save, hit OK. And now there's your tool set. You'll notice it's locked. Let me give you the key. Click to unlock it. Now we can open the drawer and I can put those objects in, whatever they are. Right click, add to tool chest, Landon tools. You're going to want to go through and change your settings to be detailed view so you can see exactly what it's called. All right, Kimberly, thank you so much for joining. Folks, that was how to create tool sets and share them. By the way, you can share these with others. You can email them. So all you have to do is go over here and say save, because you just updated that. And do you want one from another location? I like this coffee maker. Left click and drag it right over here. and there, and now I have the coffee maker. You want the sink first, just move that, and now you have both of these. So if it exists over here, you have the ability to drag it from other tool sets and then share it with others. So I'm going to go over here and save it and then export it. When I export it, I'm going to put it in a unique location like my desktop. And now from there, I just email it to someone. And Landon, if I were to email this to you, all you have to do is double click on it and it installs it from Windows, or you can link it in.
All right.
Ah,
Jim, what's your question? I can see you got your hand up. Do you want to voice your question?
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. If I want to use variables for I-beams from W8s to W10s, is there an easy way to do that when it comes to counting them, automatically counting them?
Yes. So what you want to do is, when you're counting your beams, right? And again, feel free to email me and I'd be happy to take a drawing that you have and show you how to do this one-on-one. But your structural, I don't have structure here, but it would be called, all the beams would have the W10, W5, whatever the number is. Use the search feature to go through and have it identify those things. But you would want to go through and create your custom W, whatever the number is, ahead of time. So you have you start to basically have a catalog of your shapes, sizes, and you can start to add to them. So what you would be able to do is, in this case, let's say I even did something simple, like over here, a text box. A text box gives me the ability, and I'm going to put a W10, W1. Over here, what I'm going to do is have this be a text box by itself. And now over here, I can start to give it a color, right? So this object, if I want to go through and quickly make a bunch of them, I'm going to just create one, hold Control and Shift, and make a bunch of them, right? So I can easily start to go through, and I'm holding Control to make copies, Shift, just because I'm detail oriented, to make sure they're all in a line. And then over here, change that to be a W2. And
Okay.
then,
Can I go to the next question?
yes.
If it's a say a W12 by 26, and it's 30-foot long column line to column line, how do I get the 30-foot and the W12 by 26 to work together and generate the total weight on the job?
So a little bit more of an involved question, but doable. So what you can do is, when you start to go through and do what's called a poly length, the poly length gives you the ability to go through and create this line, right? This object over here, you can start to create custom line types. That custom line type, let's say instead of saying gas, would say W something or another. That information then gives you the total length. So if I come over here and do columns, turn on length, this tells me the total length. Now, in regards to weight, then what you would want to do is create a specific formula. So over here, when we go to manage columns, we do custom columns, and we would add a formula. And over here, what we would do is add a formula, and that formula is called weight of column. I misspelled it. And over here, we would say, let's say it weighs 5 pounds times whatever the linear length is. And so I'm going to say times length. So then that right there, I mean, I don't know what the weight is, but there has to be some type of weight per linear foot. Then this will automatically, if you can do this type of Excel formula or formula in Excel, we can do the same thing in Bluebeam. So we can get the linear calculation, but also have a new column that'll give us the weight.
Okay. All right, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's time, right?
Yep. We're right at 2:01. We do have 2 more questions, but I can circulate them to you, and you can answer them maybe on the next office hours or via email, either way. But I did put in the chat, you guys, you can scan the QR code there to attend our next office hours. And then you can also connect with Rick himself on LinkedIn, potentially TikTok in the future, but you can scan that QR code and connect on LinkedIn as well. But I want to thank all of you for joining today. I hope it was meaningful and impactful for you and your businesses.
Yeah, if you take your phone, wait, quick. If you don't see it, grab your smartphone, turn on your camera, and point over here to either scan me or connect, and look me up, sign up for the next office hours, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Give me a shout out and love to say hi. Thanks, everyone.